Now, according to Robert Kiyosaki, in one of his books, he said that entrepreneurs become obsolete every 20 years because of change in technology and trend. All right, so that means that every entrepreneur has to make that commitment to ensure that he adapts to changing times and fashion situation. All right, okay, this is how I welcome you back from that short break that we went for a little while ago. So we are still considering the challenges facing young entrepreneurs, especially as the world marks this year's global population day. So we've taken time to look at the various empowerment programs by the government, all right, especially as it concerns Nigerians. And we, in the second part of the program, we want to look at the various empowerment programs that's been championed by the private sector in our country, and to see how young people can leverage these opportunities to, come out from poverty and other egregious life circumstances. All right. So the next question. Okay, let's itemize the various empowerment schemes for those of us who do not have such information, because so many of these schemes here. All right. Many people don't know that they exist. Right. All right. The first one is the recently concluded Tony Elumelu Foundation Young Entrepreneurs Program. And then you have the Dangote Entrepreneurship Scheme. You also have Leap Africa for Youth Leadership Program. And you have the FATE Program, Aspiring Entrepreneurs Program. And you have Young African Leaders Initiative. And finally, on our list today is Nigerian Youth Skills Empowerment Program. All right. So have you seen it? The issue is that people do not even know when and how to go about applying, and getting, recruited or given the opportunity, all right, to participate and be a beneficiary of the schemes, various empowerment schemes that are available or obtainable in our country. All right. So the next question we want to ask, we initially asked, have the government been sincere? All right. Now, the next question we want to ask is, what can developing countries do to give more people, from their countries the opportunity to benefit from, both local and international empowerment schemes? You know, this has to do with collaboration, especially now they are divesting themselves of the responsibility of empowering people who cannot get a job in the formal sector or start up their own business. That's where empowerment comes in, so that the young people wouldn't start engaging in crimes and social vices. All right. So, um, what can government of developing countries do? The first thing they have to do is not to divest themselves of responsibility, but to partner the private sector in terms of there are some organizations that have, there are different classes of organizations. You have blue chip companies, you have you know the companies that have become very strong, that can help young entrepreneurs to strengthen their skills and expertise so as to succeed in business. All right. So partnering those organizations in terms of identifying people who are truly qualified, all right, people who have the skills needed to to succeed in business. All right. Okay. So that's the way. If government want to do uh, the empowerment scheme, handle it by themselves, you find out that it will be a colossal failure, because what government functionaries do. They will start to be engaging in, using such parochial considerations, and then, at the end of the day, everything will be muddled and riddled with, corruption and everything that is associated with it. See, have you seen? So, the private sector are the people who are going, to ensure that the person that is truly qualified, gets what it's needed for the person to thrive in business. All right. Okay. So the issue of counterpart funding, all right? Um, there's something known as apprenticeship scheme, all right? Those days where young people will go to their big uncles or their big aunts who are doing business and stay with them for a period of years. And at the end of that tenure, they will settle them, open their businesses for them. And they must have learned how to succeed in the business of their big uncles and their big aunties. So that's the approach I think government should adopt. Not the, come apply for, empowerment and then we empower. No, no, no. Let the government, it's usually, I think that's the approach that Tony Elumelu is adopting in his scheme. It takes time to train people, show them real business challenges and how to solve them for a period of years, not the one that will come and then they give you money and then you use it to go and get married or you use it to go and travel abroad. Okay, so that's what normally happens. If you look at all the schemes that government handled in the past, you can really you can it's difficult to point out this is someone who benefited from that scheme and this is how successful the person is today. And that's why we still have high rate of unemployment, right? Because I know that scheme empowerment programs have been in existence in our country as far back as 1999. Have you seen it? Since the commencement of democratic rule, the return of democratic rule in our country? There have been so many schemes, but you cannot point out, you know, individuals who benefited, and we are there today helping government to, you know, cushion the effect of unemployment in our country. Okay, so the first thing is collaboration with the public sector, how it should be done. All right. Yes, streamlining that process to be a process where people would, would be absorbed. All right. And then look, exactly what Tony Elumelu is doing. That's the blueprint we should adopt. All right. It's Miss Stevie and my brother and Fred MC Liki. Now continuing. The next question we want to address today is who should come to the rescue of young entrepreneurs, when their businesses become threatened financially or go bankrupt. I don't want to use that terminology. When businesses are threatened. Yes, it could be as a result of not getting your strategy right, your business strategy right. It happens. All right. Yes, and then it could be as a result of when the value your business is providing is not strong enough, you know, to drive the kind of growth, that will liberate the entrepreneur from the shackles of poverty and dependence. Who should take up the challenge of rescuing such a young entrepreneur from losing his business totally? All right. Okay. So during I think it was during the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, they established what is called AMCON, Asset Management Company of Nigeria, that engaged in bailout of banks that were financially stressed. That was how some banks in our country didn't totally become extinct, right? Because they had this government intervention that handled bad loans and bad loans that nearly led to the collapse of the banking system in Nigeria. So for these entrepreneurs, when their business become financially stressed, who will come to their rescue as government came to the rescue of some banks then in Nigeria? Okay, so and also you had during the health emergencies that we had in this country, when people were staying indoors, government dealt out bailouts, to states to cushion the effect of, the epidemic there. So how is there anything that the government can put in place to monitor sincere entrepreneurs, all right, young entrepreneurs who have started, doing something, but along the line, their business become, financially challenged, that they would need to they would need intervention, all right? Financial intervention to continue with what they are doing. All right? That's what the direction that the government should also be looking at. And then you have this issue of multiple taxation in our country. I have overheard here, manufacturers in this country lamenting they have series of tax. You have company income tax, you have value added tax, you have pay as you and you have withholding, you have local levies, tax, multiple taxation. At the end of the day, you ask yourself, how much am I making? How am I going to survive? That's why importation, has been the driving force of whatever, you know, most business, all right, in Nigeria. So that's it. What is government going to do to create what they call or enforce what they call tax exempt, all right? Yes, for people who are just starting to straighten, you know, the momentum, to straighten, you know, what they are already doing. Okay, I'll come back after this time out. I am your brother and friend, MC Likiliki, and this is Isthmus Daily Rendezvous.